Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to today's session. It's just a small introduction to IntelliJ. So in the Java part, we use IntelliJ as our integrated development environment or code editor, and use the IntelliJ Community Edition. So once we installed IntelliJ and started IntelliJ, let's zoom in a little bit first. Using the magnifier maybe. Yeah. So once IntelliJ is installed and we open it, we can either open an already created project or let's create a new project. If you click on this button, create a new project, a new window should appear. On the top, you can choose your SDK version. The project you can use select the project SDK. In our case, we will use Java Development Kit (JDK), and here you can already have JDKs installed on your machine, or if not, you can click here to download the JDK. We can use the latest version of Oracle from the vendor Oracle, or you can also specify another vendor, but let's stick to the latest version and just click on download to download the JDK. Then afterwards select it here, and on the left you can specify, of course, sorry, I forgot the type of the project. In our case, we need a Java project with this SDK. We don't need additional libraries. You can click next, and here, let's create a project from a template. Let's use the command line app template. So this automatically creates an application with a class, the main class, and the main method for us. So click next. Project name, let's call it, for this purpose, just intro to IntelliJ. And the package, you can specify the base package. Let's stick to it, leave it as it is. Leave it as is. in.sse.rit. So let's click finish. So now I will just close this magnifier. So now a new project gets created. In the beginning, on your side, maybe it looks like this, or more like this. So on the left side, let's use the magnifier again. On the left side, you got your project tab. If you click on it, you can see the folders and files which are inside of your project. You can also use your keyboard, use Alt and 1 to open and close the project tab. Here you've got the folder structure and your Java classes. Just double click to a class to open the class on the right window on the edit to edit the code. Of course, here you also can create new classes or new files. Let's create a new Java class. Let's call it person, for example. And so IntelliJ created a class person for us. Let's give the name. You can use for generating getters and setters. For example, you can right-click somewhere in the class, inside of the class, and click generate. Then you will get a menu for generating various things and like a constructor, for example. Let's select none to create a default constructor, an empty constructor, for example, or right click and generate. Of course, you can also use your keyboard again, Alt and Insert. Yeah. Here you can choose generate getters and setters. Again, here you get a menu. Just you select the fields for which you want to create getters and setters. Click OK, and you got your getters and setters. Another useful thing with IntelliJ is, for example, if you already coded a little bit and didn't clean up your code, or you have some many not so nice, you don't have a really nice code formatting or some issues while copying pasting something, or I don't know, and you want to say, hey, IntelliJ, reformat this class that it looks nice again. Just right click and refactor, and here you can one second, refactor. No, not here, sorry. On the top, there is the menu item code. And here you have one menu item, one menu entry item, reformat code. So just click code and reformat code to let IntelliJ reformat the current class for us. Or, of course, you also can use shortcuts. Again, you can use Ctrl, Alt, and L. I think that's also some shortcut for my tool, the magnifier. So close magnifier and scroll in a little bit. Sorry, Ctrl, Alt, and L to reformat the code. Yeah, maybe I can switch now. Now I can switch to presentation mode. It's just a little bit different, mode like the normal mode, but you can. I think it's better for you that you can see a little bit more. So I can also show this dialog again, and on the top we got our menu bar. So much more space and a little bit better for you maybe. Just looks a little bit different. It's the same IntelliJ like we used before. Yeah, and of course, so we create a new class. Here in our main, we got those little icons here. If you click on that, you can either you get a new context menu, and you can say just run main. What does this do? It just compiles, builds your project, and runs your application. You got this icon here and here, and also at your toolbar. Maybe let's get back. Oh, what the? Okay. Let's exit the presentation mode. And let's open the magnifier again, just to show you that on the top right, you also have the same icon. Here you also can run your main class also can debug your main class. This is a special sort of running your application where you also can stop while running and inspect things like the value of variables and how you to figure out how your program behaves and if there are some issues to detect issues in your code. So if you say you run your project, you just run and the project starts the execution until the end. And if you debug your project, the project also starts, but you have a possibility to stop during running your project and inspect what's going inside of your project. Another way to start your application is just right click on the main class or on any class which has this little green play button on the top of the class icon, and here you also can, of course, use run main, debug main. Another way to start your applications is on the keyboard again, Control Shift and F10 to run the application. So, okay, let's close the magnifier again. Let's get into the presentation mode again. And maybe just to show you, show you the debugging experience, a little bit of how to debug. Now, let's use our person class. Person is, let's, switch keyboard, not the Turkish one. Raymond equals new person and dot. Let's use the setter to set the name. Set name. So okay, then just print the name. Print line. Yeah, just Raymond.get. Just print the name. We'll use setter to set it to Raymond, and afterwards we will use the setter to set it to not Raymond. So now, like that, this icon over here, run main, just builds a project, compiles it, builds it, and runs your project, your application. On the bottom, there should be, or they should open the window where we can see the output. So first we set it to Raymond, then we set it to not Raymond, so we overwrote this value, and then we printed it, so now it's not Raymond. Now I will show you just a short introduction how to use debugging. So you can on the left side of the line numbers, if you click, okay, on the right side of the line numbers, if you click here, you can add those red circles where also the whole line gets highlighted in red, and those are called breakpoints. So if you run the program not using the play icon, run main, but instead using this bug icon, the screen icon that looks like a bug where it says debug main, for example, then the program will again just IntelliJ will build a project and will run it, but it will stop at each breakpoint you set. So if the execution, if the program gets to this line during the execution during running the project, it will stop here. It will stop here, and we can also set a breakpoint here to say, okay, afterwards stop here, and in the end stop here. So let's try, let's debug it and click on debug. Now it builds the project, compiles the project, and opens a new debugging session. And now the line was highlighted in dark blue, and that means that we stopped at this breakpoint. And good to know is that you stopped at this line, so this line we didn't execute. Sorry, we didn't execute this line, but all lines above, or rough explanation is the lines above were executed already, but we stopped at this line and this didn't get executed until now. And so here, I can't zoom in here, but what is also really nice is here on the right side of a variable, for example, or where the variable gets used, you also have your variable and the address of your object. In this case, the address of the object Raimund. And if you click on this, you can inspect all values. For example, Raimund got one field, and since we didn't execute this line, we just created a new object. The name is null. So you can inspect the values here, and on the bottom you also have all variables which are inside of this class. This is also a rough explanation. So we got our args variable here. It's empty. And we got our Raimund, which we already created here, which has one field, and now currently the value is also null, so it's not set. Okay, and how do we proceed? Here you got those arrow icons. You got a step. The important ones are step over and step into, or step over on your keyboard is F8 and step into is F7. So if you use F8 or step over, you can step over a line. So let's use step over now. So that means that execute. Now we are at this line, at line 7. Before executed it. So now we say step over this line. So execute this line and then stop again. Just one line and then stop. Okay, so we executed this line. Now we stopped at the line afterwards. And now at the top, you see we assigned the value Raimund. So now it's got the value, the object Raimund got, and the field of the object got the value Raimund. And again, here on the right, you can also inspect the object and the value of the fields. In this case, we only have one field. So, and now we can stop over this line, so execute this line and stop at the next line, or we can also use F7 or step into. What's the difference? Stop over, you won't leave your current class, you just step over the line and the next line and the next line and the next line. And with step into, we can step into this method, for example. So let's use F7 or step into to step into the set name, the setter. So now we are inside the setter. We have our argument. Here it is. Again, the value is here, not Raimund, or like you see, we passed not Raimund, and here the argument, value of the argument is not Raimund. And since we didn't execute this line, we just stopped here. The current name is Raimund, and we are going to set it to not Raimund. So just use F8 to step over this line. And now the name of the object, the value of the field name of this object is not Raimund, and yeah, the argument didn't change at all. And again, on the top, you got all the variables which inside this class. you got this, which represents this class. So got also the field name here, and you got your field. Or it should be the that's the argument, of course. The argument name or parameter. If you hover over this icon, for example, you can also say, or look what what this field is. This is a parameter. Here we got the parameter or argument, and the F is for field. So here we got the field. And click, now we are here, click F8 again to step over, and now we are again outside at the next line. So here we stopped at the 10th line, didn't execute it until now. Again, here now we got the new value, not Raymond. And down there you got the debugger window which we used all the time to inspect the values. And on the right side you got the console window. That's the output. Like you click on play, you will see only the console window and not the debugger window, and there will be the output of the program. So we didn't execute it now, so click F8 to step over to the next and stop at the next line. And the output is not Raymond. So if you are finished with debugging, just click on stop, and the debugging session stopped. And yeah, you can continue fixing those bugs you found or doing other things. Just one second thing is, if you have one breakpoint, for example, somewhere at the beginning and another breakpoint somewhere down the code, somewhere some more lines underneath, you can also start a debugging session. And once it breaks at your first breakpoint, and you of course can use F8 to step over and F7 to step into, but maybe you won't maybe let's say you have many lines of code here between, and you don't want to use F8, F8, F8 to stop to the next line, next line, next line, but you want to continue the execution until we reach another breakpoint. So we want to just execute everything until we reach another breakpoint, and then we will stop again. There you can use a resume program or F9 just to execute all lines without a breakpoint and stop at the next breakpoint you face. So F9, so we execute everything until this breakpoint. And here you can either again use F8 to step over, F7 to step into, or again F9 to continue the execution until, in this case, everything executed and printed in the end, not Raymond, and ended. So thank you very much. I think it was a small introduction more into debugging, and reformatting is also really nice. One thing would be maybe also good to know. We use the generation context menu to generate things. Another important thing is, if you have a typo or bad naming or something, like this isn't a person, let's say it's a participant we want to use another naming like participant, you can right click and choose refactor and rename, or again on your keyboard just use Shift and F6 to rename either a class or a variable, in this case object, or a method, doesn't matter what. If you want to rename something, use Shift and F6, and there you can choose another name. Let's say we want to use participant. Click enter, and IntelliJ will rename everything for you. Rename the class name, it will rename the file also, and here now we got a new name participant, and let's say participant is not Raymond, it's of course Magna. Now every occurrence inside here will get renamed, and it's maybe we don't want to use set name, we want to use set first name. So everything inside here gets renamed, and also of course here we don't have a name anymore, we got our first name. And if you do this, for example, if you rename a field, sometimes if IntelliJ finds something what would also be nice to rename, he will IntelliJ will open the context menu, and here you can say here is asking, for example, you renamed the name to first name, and do you also want to rename this method first get name to get first name? So yeah, that would be really nice. If you don't want, just unselect. If you want it, select and click OK. And IntelliJ renamed the field and also the getter for this example. So renaming with IntelliJ is really nice and convenient. Debugging is nice, and generating methods, constructors is also nice and saves you a lot of time. So thank you very much. I hope this was a small overview, and see you next session. Ciao.